I'm so glad you're joining us for this special town hall episode of Street Soldiers. NYCHA, State of Emergency, what's changed? 9 months ago, we were in this very same room here at the Bronx Works Pyramid Community Center, learning and hearing about the hardships endured by tens of thousands of residents in NYCHA housing here in New York City. We decided to take action, we decided to stay on the story, and we are back. And we are asking the community and our panel, what has changed since last winter? The new winter is about to start. Will it be any different? Will it be any better for residents?
Over 51,000 apartments have lead paint.
It's literally falling on top of us.
I haven't had heat in weeks.
Very cold. I wake up, my feet be numb.
You shouldn't have to live like this.
The devastating cold of January 2018 brought long simmering frustrations to a head. The lack of basic heat and hot water coming on top of mold, lead, and years of disrepair and disrespect. Almost a year later, what's changed?
I see no evidence of progress. We're less than a month into the heating season, and already over 30,000 residents have seen heat and hot water outages in their apartments.
Last winter, our own investigation uncovered buildings NYCHA told us had heat and hot water, but when we checked them out in person, there was none.
It's so cold. It's freezing up in this house.
The agency later admitted 343,000 people had been affected. Former Chair Shola Olatoye was out, and political veteran Stan Brezhnev was in as interim chair.
I wish I could report progress, but sadly the management of NYCHA is as broken as it's ever been.
In response to the crisis, we held the first televised NYCHA town hall. Hip-hop superstar Ja Rule came out to support the residents.
We going down to NYCHA and let's let our voices be heard.
Mayor de Blasio announced a $104.6 million contract to improve heating at 15 NYCHA developments, including the Patterson houses. That's where we showed you the broken temporary boiler and lack of heat blamed for 4-month-old baby Caden getting pneumonia.
To find out I overdressed him or underdressed him because it was freezing temperatures in the house, and winds up in the hospital with pneumonia.
There are other issues too. More children exposed to lead than initially reported. NYCHA workers allegedly having sex parties at the Throgs Neck houses, and rat infestations where children were bitten. A federal judge rejected the city's proposed settlement for numerous lawsuits, saying he was not convinced conditions would improve. Spokesperson Eric Phillips says this decision will not affect the record investment Mayor de Blasio has dedicated to reversing decades of divestment and mismanagement of public housing.
NYCHA remains the worst landlord in the city of New York.
Let's find out what our panel has to say. Joining me, he is back supporting the residents and the community and Street Soldiers, the one and only Ja Rule. Also with us is the Honorable Carmen Quinones. She's the president of the Douglas Houses on the Upper West Side in Manhattan. Carmen. Also with us is New York State Assemblyman Michael Blake. And also joining us is Danny Barber. He is the president of the Citywide Council of Presidents of NYCHA Housing Residents. Danny, great to have you with us.
Thank you.
Ja Rule, I want to start with you on this. You've been following the developments. You've been following what's going on. Do you think it's going to be the same old, same old?
I don't have faith and trust in our city and our government at this moment. But I'm hoping that they pull through for the residents. I mean, they came, they talked a good talk. They said they were going to, do this and that for the residents, and they want to give up the $2 billion to start making these living conditions better. And from the looks of what I'm hearing and seeing, there's a lot of talk going on, and it's not.
A lot of talk.
You know what's crazy is I'm a performer, and I never get nervous. Like when I go on stage, performers say they get nervous. I was like, really, I was having anxiety in the back a little bit before coming out here, because
it's sad.
It is really sad, and usually I have like a solution to answers. I'm stumped right now.
All right, well, let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's bring in our other guests.
Yeah.
Because there has been some progress, let's be
Yeah.
fair. And we did invite NYCHA here to be a part of this in any capacity, to send us a representative, to send us outreach workers, to send us management representatives, and they were unable to send us anybody.
They
So I want
never
to be
do.
very clear, we did invite
Yeah, they
NYCHA
never do.
to this.
Yeah.
And Carmen Quinones, in terms of our question, what's changed? Has there been any real changes since last winter?
Change is when you advance. Change is when you're better. None of that has been happening. We have still pipes breaking, kids with lead, and we have new orders from HUD that 17% of people will be put out of their homes if they make over a certain amount of money now. We just got that last week. So they continue to do things to get rid of the people in public housing. So it's not getting better, it's getting worse. And what we need to do is actually, and I've been saying this for a while, the 400,000 residents that are in public housing need to come out and to the street, and we need to shut it down.
I like that. I like that.
It's the only way it's gonna happen.
Assemblyman Michael Blake, there have been a lot of press conferences, a lot of talk since we were here 9 months ago. You've been deeply involved, you've been on the front lines, you've answered the calls that we've gotten from residents and gotten help for them. We've heard money being given from the state, from the city. Just give us a sense of what, do you really feel there's been some change, or what's really happening?
I always say often that there's a difference between activity and progress.
Yeah.
Right? So have there been changes of new things that have happened in terms of new staff and funding and projects along that line? Yes. However, has there been enough progress? Absolutely not. You know, when you are here and you're approaching the winter, and you have buildings that are right now wondering if they're going to have heat this weekend, that's wrong. When you have people that are wondering, how is it that I don't have good functioning apartments and security, that's wrong. You know, how is it that you can get unleaded gas but you can't live in an apartment that has lead-free paint, right? And so there have been some changes. We've been able to put some money. We, from the state, did about $250 million across the city, across the state. There's specific projects that we were able to work on, you know, security cameras, doors, locks, etc. But it's not enough, you know, plain and simple. And I think the reality is this is an emergency. This is a humanitarian crisis. Yeah. And we got to treat it in that manner. We got to treat it in the reality that Black and Latino communities are suffering in a way that they should not be suffering. And it is wrong, and it is unacceptable, and we have to continue to press forward even more. All
right, Danny Barber, in terms of the suffering of residents, your building was without electricity for a couple days there, it looked like. There's tens of thousands of residents already so far, we're not even really into the winter technically, that have gone without heat and hot water. Give us a sense of the ground, because you're out there walking around, you know, to many different developments.
What's changed so far?
Yeah.
So far, all that's changed. It was been 9 months later. Okay, that's one. Two, what's changed? They've added new senior executive vice presidents, but the residents' apartments are still falling down around them. If you walk into the management office, the waiting areas have leather couches. The bathrooms look like something out of a Vanity Fair magazine, and you go upstairs to the resident's apartment and they have channel lock pliers turning the hot water on and off. Last year we had over 300,000 families without heat. So far this year we had 72,000, 35 one weekend, 35 another. So I mean, Patterson Houses was fully funded for boilers. Lynn Patton, regional director from HUD, went there with the borough president. And elected officials, everybody's in Puerto Rico, and everybody's working in Puerto Rico. We'll have Michael Blake sitting here with us here in the Bronx to fight for the people in his community and of New York City. So my thing is where's everybody at? We need you to come and throw paint on the walls in New York City. Let's get it going and let's do it right. You were elected by these people, and you guys stop electing them just because they say Democrat down the line. If they don't do the work, don't put them in office.
All right,
That's
on that
right.
note, we're going to take a short break.
Right.
This is our Street Soldiers NYCHA Town Hall State of Emergency. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. We'll be right back.
If the people that are supposed to be in charge of the money are corrupted, you can't count on these people. You can't vote for these people. You can't put these people in office.
Ja Rule, just talk with me as an artist on an emotional level, on a personal level. When you see some of the things that you've seen over the past year, you've seen the broken walls, you've seen the sewage flooding, the baby that got pneumonia because there was no heat in the apartment, baby Caden, in the Patterson houses. You've seen the rats biting babies and biting kids and in people's homes. What does that do to you?
I mean, it does what you know, to every human being. It's like, come on, man, this is ridiculous what's going on here, and it tears me up. But my thing is, what do we do? How do we fix the problem? I said, I'm listening to everybody talking. All right, the government, the state gave some money, but it seems like the work is not being done. If they don't care enough to do the work, but they're willing to give the money, let us house ourselves, police ourselves. Let us build up our own communities. I'm sure there's plenty of, you know, mechanics and people who are in the communities that have businesses, you know, independent, small businesses that would love to come in and do the work and get paid to do it and build up the community at the same time.
People who would welcome it. Michael Blake, Assemblyman Michael Blake, and in fact in New York City, minorities are the majority. National minorities are the majority. So the power is, the political power is there, but it's the gridlock and what Ja Rule was saying about the money. We've seen state money, there's hundreds of millions of dollars being thrown around like they're, you know, dollar bills. And then the city pledged money, and then now the feds are in. But can you just help us understand where we're at with this?
How does the money break down? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Why does it seem to be such a gridlock and nothing is happening?
Because nothing was happening before. And the reality is, first, we need everybody to say to not just your electeds, but to your community leaders and to the NYCHA team, stop this nonsense of closing out ticket orders when you haven't fixed anything.
Which we
found.
found.
Right? Like, the reality what's happening all the time. The $2 billion federal settlement, which many of us were down there where we testified in front of Judge Pauly, you know, Lisa and to John, everybody, that can be the game changer.
In terms of making the suffering and the hardship that people are dealing with on a daily basis, making this a priority and a hashtag that will embarrass the people who are taking the money and not doing the job, is that possible?
Absolutely. You know, us celebrities, we like to get behind causes and things that we're close to, you know, and a lot of us absolutely come from public housing and come from the ghettos and the hoods of America. So absolutely that is something that's possible. And for me personally, sitting here right now, we're just sitting there on the panel talking, and I said I would love to do a turkey drive for the kids in NYCHA and for the people in NYCHA, and a toy drive for Christmas. I'll do it through my ICE Foundation, and you know, I'll get my people, my friends over at City Harvest, wink wink, to help out. So yeah, so it'll be a good thing. Yeah, so we'll put that together and we'll start there, and we'll do as much as we can to really bring awareness to this, because this is outrageous.
It's
man.
outrageous.
Yeah.
It's New York City. It's the United States.
But I also want to say, we need to start at the top of this thing, where the corruption is, because if the money's being given in some places, certain places, they're giving it, but the work's not being done, or you're not seeing the money turn over into.
I'm hearing people talking about millions of dollars. I'm like, I've been in a lot of apartments in the last year. I don't see any granite countertops.
That's a big problem.
I don't even see working refrigerators in some of them.
That's a big problem. You can never
I saw
get
lots of
past
rats.
the problem if the money's being stolen.
Right.
If the people that are supposed to be in charge of the money are corrupted, you cannot. You can't count on these people. You can't vote for these people. You can't put these people in office if these are the people that are keeping you in poverty and you know.
The status quo.
Yes. So we have to
start
start
with
the
status
corruption.
quo for the residents.
We got to start with the corruption.
All right, let's take a question or comment.
I want to know, with the HUD regulations, the 964, how come NYCHA doesn't honor them? And they haven't been revised since the 1960s. And I want to know, is this something that can be done legally, because they are withholding us as resident councils they're taking away from what we can do more for our community.
What she asked about HUD regulations, it's called 24 CFR 964 HUD regulation. That's the regulation that governs NYCHA and the resident association. The regulation is only used when NYCHA chooses to govern the association. NYCHA changes the rules and the regulation as they go, and they shouldn't. So we're waiting for Madam Lynn Patton, Regional Director, to have the meeting that she agreed that she would have, and she said if she didn't meet with us, she would quit. We haven't met yet, so let's have this meeting, ma'am, so
Let me know.
that
We're
we
ready,
can move
we're
forward.
ready to go with the Fox 5 camera and the Hot 97 microphone. Let's take a question or comment. What is your name and how old are you?
My name is Tristan Shields and I'm 7, and I have a question, and why do the elevator workers take so long to fix elevators that are broken?
Carmen, what about that with the elevators?
Well, first of all, you shouldn't have to be walking upstairs, right? But they should be fixing those elevators as soon as they break.
What do you say to Tristan here for having the courage to stand up here and talk in front of this
I
crowd?
love Tristan, man. I love this little fella, man. It's heart of gold, man. And you look like a fine young man. Your mother and your father are doing a great job with you, man. I can tell, man.
Tell us your first name and how old you are.
My name is Morgan and I'm 11 years old.
All right, Morgan, what's your question or comment for our panel?
My comment is, I'm sick and tired of me coming home to no heat, or me coming home to no electricity, or like I have to walk down 15 flights of stairs to go to school, and then me waking up in the morning and I have no hot water. How are we gonna fix this? Because I'm sick and tired of all of this. This is like
All right, who wants to take that? Michael Blake?
You need to run for office, first of all,
Yeah.
right? That's the first thing right
what
there.
What development
right?
are you in?
Yep.
Andrew Jackson.
Andrew Jackson.
Yeah, Andrew Jackson. First, you shouldn't have to be dealing with this. Nobody should be dealing with this. We say this in our office all the time. Your block won't block your blessing. Your zip code won't deny your destiny. But the reality is everybody that's living in NYCHA feels like they can't get basic services. So what we're going to ask, and I know our team is in the room, everybody that's here, no matter what the issues may be, whether it be leaks, whether it be elevators, whether it be security cameras, whatever it may be, we want to find out about that. Hold us accountable. Use us as electeds. Use the celebs that can draw attention. Quite frankly, Ja, Lisa, you all being here, you get people to pay attention that weren't paying attention. Because the folks have been talking about this for 30 years plus who've been feeling this way. So let us know how we can work on this. But then at the same time, for these young kids, right, these are the faces that we all got to be thinking about when Thanksgiving comes and when Christmas comes, and they trying to figure out when it comes to back to school, like they're the ones that are working so hard, that are trying to do the right thing. It's our job to go help you, and we're going to fight for you.
Ja Rule, I'm going to ask you for a final word here. What do you think we can do with all the people we know to help and to bring some light to this?
Bring them out. Bring them out. Bring them out. And I think, you know, this is an issue that's hitting home right now. I'm the first to come to the plate on it, but trust me, this is New York City is come on, man, we're a thriving city, man. These are beautiful people, and I'm gonna go harder to get my friends involved and get people more involved.
Ja Rule, Carmen Quinones, Assemblyman Michael Blake, and Danny Barber. Remember, use your mind. It's your best weapon. I hope it's your only weapon. Let's push for peace. I'm Lisa Evers. Good night.